Okay. Boom.
Cool.
What week is it?
13.
All right.
Big 1-3.
Cool. Prayer. How is? You worked on prayer.
Yep.
How's it?
All right, I'll start. Prayer. This past week we worked on prayer, basically getting into a meditative state and asking God or the universe or Buddha, whatever religion you want to choose here, and asking for whatever requests that we made and asking for what we want in our life. So I did this really the first few days. I prayed for a stable job that is also going to allow me to be creative, and that's going to be the company culture is going to be aligned with my values. One of the reasons I left my old job was because I didn't feel I fit into that culture. It was a very purely money motivated and kind of do whatever you can to make the sale type job, and I'm just really not comfortable with that. So that's what I really prayed for. And funny thing is, I experienced something over the weekend. I got to participate in this healing fair this past weekend, and I wasn't the one actually doing any readings or energy healings or anything like that, but I had my friend Justin do it, and he was doing really well. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he was just doing readings and helping people like crazy. It was pretty awesome. And I could actually see myself kind of being like a manager of some sort where, hey, I'll help him book the gigs and he goes and he takes care of it. I kind of like the behind the scenes, not the, star of the show. So I kind of played with that in my mind, and that may be a possible thing for me to do in the future. Another thing that happened was I got really sick on Sunday. And one thing I really prayed for was my health to just, I had this headache and stomach ache, and not so much a fever, but just, when your immune system gets really weak and you have no energy and it's hard just to even like sit up. I was really praying for, I would just like to really recover, regain my health. And in those moments, I realized how much I took my health for granted, because last week I was super healthy, working out twice a day, eating healthy, and then the weekend I just kind of took a dive, and then I got sick, and I'm finally starting to, I'm actually about 85% better now. Still have this little headache kind of lingering, but that's pretty much what I did for prayer. I guess we'll talk about this a little bit later, but how about you? Why don't you share your kind of what happened with prayer for you?
Okay, sure. Mine was pretty simple. I went to Universal Studios Harry Potter World, which was really cool. So I was going with a roommate, and I was praying that like everything would go smoothly. The hotels, the renting the car. Contacting him was pretty hard at first because he was pretty busy. But after we got together and we worked things out, everything went smoothly. Another thing I prayed for was that it wouldn't rain.
Oh yeah.
Because we spent so much money on getting there, and then I saw these huge storm clouds and everything, and I thought it was gonna rain. That's what it said on the forecast. But it ended up being a really great day. It was nice and sunny. It was cool too. Lines weren't really long, and it didn't rain. It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Anything else?
I also had the intention. I prayed that I'd have fun and relax at the convention. I'd meet lots of people. Make lots of networks. And I also prayed that I would have get a job that people would respect my time and like pay me on time, and it would be something I would be interested in, and it would be good and stuff like that. So I prayed for a certain type of client.
Right.
And I met some people from Universal and Imagineering, which was really cool. Actually, when we were having... So I didn't meet any Imagineering people because I think I'm afraid of getting an Imagineer job. But when we were having lunch, one of my other employers, he started selling me to the entire group. He was like, oh, this is Chris. Like, he works for me, and he's like such a great concept artist. Blah, 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 and he's really fast, and he thinks, he has a business mind and everything. And it was really cool. It's one thing to promote yourself, but for another guy at a company to promote you, he was like the boss of his own company. I really appreciated that, and that was so cool. And like a lady was like, well, have you ever applied to Imagineering? And I'm like, no, I have no idea how to apply because the job list is so complicated. There's no thing.
Right.
And then she was like, well, if only you knew someone at Imagineering. And she pointed to the lady next to her, and you know, I got her email. So that was really cool.
But you're afraid to take that job even if it were offered because, once again, why?
I don't know. It's like the idea of being at like a job. I'm afraid I might get sick. It pushes me above my comfort zones. I don't know.
Okay, so when you say sick, why would you get sick? Why?
Well, I get sick really easily. It's like if I overwork, I get like my neck gets sore, my back gets sore. You know, I get acid reflux. You know,
so when you overwork or get stressed out, kind of your health.
I get sick really easily.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Well, at the same time, at the event, I started appreciating my body for getting sick. Because there was actually this architecture student. He was my roommate, and he'd pull all-nighters and stuff. You know, and like I asked him like, do you get sick or do you get like neck or back pains? And he says he doesn't get any of that stuff. You know, and then I'm like, well, that stuff it can't be good for you to pull so many all-nighters.
Yeah.
So he goes to the conference all day, just like me, and I'm already tired. And he does work in the middle of the night. You know,
and then he goes back to the conference.
And then he goes back to, and then he went to Universal, and he even went drinking one day. And I'm like, and he seemed to find, he started to get sick at the end.
Yeah.
But I'm like, my body has an alarm mechanism that says, Chris, stop.
Yeah.
And that's the getting sick thing.
Right.
Maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing that I get sick. Maybe it's something that, it's like, what is that? Preventive measure?
Yeah, defense mechanism.
Defense mechanism, you know, alarm system that goes off.
My body does that too when that's might be another reason I get like every once or twice a month I get sick, not because I'm being unhealthy, or sometimes it might be like this past weekend I had a really like unhealthy meal. It was like a ramen burger and chili cheese fries. I mean, it tasted good for the most part, but it was super unhealthy, and like I felt the effects afterward. But also sometimes I get sick. I notice for me personally, it's a transformation.
Okay.
It's like a shift in energy. A lot of things that need to come out start coming out. So, for example, this week, a lot of my issues, I'm realizing more and more with my mom, like my immaturity and my fears. And it was the 19-year-old me. I realized it was the 19-year-old me that was kind of lashing out, and all his anger and all his, you know, at that time I was selling drugs and I was making good money and things were going well. I had a wonderful girlfriend. I had great friends. I partied. I did whatever the heck I wanted to do. Yet it was illegal at that time. And it's weird because just recently, just yesterday, or actually today, I was trying to have a conversation with my mom, and she was giving me useful information that I just would not receive. And it was because this inner 19-year-old was still in that rebellious, you know, I don't want to freaking listen to you because I can do it on my own and I'll still make it, you know, and I'm like trying to let that go, you know, and going to the job, like you said, I left the job I was at because I just, you know, maybe it might have been immature as well. Like it's one of those, hey, I don't want to do it because I just don't like it type of feelings, but maybe I should have stayed until I secured a new position, because I do need the financial support. So that's something that I'm learning and maturing. So for, you know, just to relate back to your question of, you know, do you really want, I mean, you gotta look at what the benefits, you know, do like maybe a pro and con list to see. I mean, because it could be a great opportunity for your career in long run. I'm not saying you're gonna be with Disney Imagineering for the rest of your life, but maybe if you work there for a year or two, you gain that experience just to see how they do it and learn their operations, and then maybe you can take that experience with you and, you know, create your own thing using kind of the same things, because you can always, I'm sure you can learn something from them. Right? I mean, I would imagine you can learn some sort of, maybe on the business ops side or just the concept illustration side, you'll learn something. You'll get something out of it. Absolutely. Period, right? So maybe it doesn't have to be a forever thing. Maybe try it for a year. I mean, you went to school for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do this for 4 years. Maybe try it out for a year if you get offered the job, and maybe have a
whatever. I don't know.
you know. But keep it as an option. Just look at, you know, why you want to do it, why you don't want to do it, and is it really just because you don't want to get out of your comfort zone, or is it because you don't want to have those stressful 60, 70, 80-hour days? And if that's an issue, you should, you know, maybe talk to them and say, if they offer you a job, you can say, hey, look, this is what I'm willing to do, and this is what I'm not willing to do. Do you still want to hire me? Mm-hmm. You know, you set your boundaries. And I think that goes with your payments too. Set your boundaries. Look, when you do a job, you expect me to get your job done in time, right? I'm sure your employers expect you to get the job done in time. So you absolutely have the right to expect to get paid on time, right? At least within a week of time of delivery. But maybe that's just part of, you know, setting boundaries, and that's something that I'm learning as well. Anything else you want to add?
Yes. I know what we can do this week.
Okay.
Asking for help.
Asking for help. Ooh, how do we do that?
Just try asking for help. It can be something small, you know, like, hey, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? It's being vulnerable. You know, it's admitting that, hey, we can't do everything on ourselves, you know. We can't take care of all our financial expenses and this and that and that. Even like the most powerful man or the most independent woman, you know, it's like they still need to ask for help from their secretaries,
they have
or from their assistants, their teams. You know, I think that's something that I don't do a lot, and
I don't do it.
You don't do it. Oh, I saw this. I saw this.
Okay.
All right, dude.
So how do we do this? Asking for help. I'm very. The only thing I've ever asked for help, I mean, aside from like, I'll ask Bridget, you know, can you help me with the dishes, or can you help me cook some food, or whatever, things of that sort. But how do you, I guess, where do you draw that line of, hey, I can do this myself, versus maybe I should ask for help on this particular issue?
Well, I would say for this week, practice asking for help. Not whether or not you should, you know. Okay, it's just practice it like it's a muscle. Practice it like it's singing.
Just asking for money for help?
Sure.
Does that count?
Sure.
Okay.
Being able to humble yourself and say, hey, I need your help. And it's giving someone the choice to say yes or no. You're giving someone else power. You're becoming vulnerable. I see what you're saying.
I like that.
Because I think monks and stuff, from what I understand, if they wanted to make money, they can. But the reason why they wanted to beg for money was to become
humility.
Yeah, there's a humility. You know, sometimes people would spit on them and stuff.
Right,
people would say no. You know, but asking for help, it's a practice, and showing gratitude. You know, after.
That's a hard one. Okay. Okay. I will do my best.
I think it'll be good for you. It'll be good for me too.
Ask for help.
Yeah. And like, why do I work 70, 80 hours? Why do I get sick? Maybe because we're trying to do everything by ourselves. Right?
Okay. I like that.
Alright.
Cool.
Alright. Bye.
Alright, so I guess that's it for this week. Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Let us know what you guys need help with. Alright. Leave your comments below, and we'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye, Mario.